Hey everybody, Josh Tovar, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy here for the Red Zone. We're here today to discuss the whole week's activity that you're facing. We have a great array of guests from different parts of the country, but most importantly, the most important guest is you. Please make sure you let us know on the comment section where you're from and give us back your feedback because you know what? And I'll keep on saying it. It doesn't what region of the United States we're in. We're all facing the same adversity, lack of substitutes, the weather, corona, everything, we're all facing the same adversity. And the only way we're going to get out of this is being together and united and learning from each other. We have Otis, we have Michael, we have Chris, we have Dean, but most importantly, we have you. And also let us know where you're at on social media so we can follow each other and see the great things that are going on there. Without further ado, from the state of Texas, I hand it over there to our guest, our host, Dean.
Well, I'm glad I'm one of the hosts here tonight. That's a good thing. Principal Tovar, outstanding job. You didn't leave me with much to say, but it is great to connect with other leaders from across the nation on Thursday nights during the Red Zone, just to talk about things that make us a little bit better at our jobs each and every day. My name is Dean Packard. I'm the principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts. Alongside of me, to this side of me, I have my good friend and co-host of Unlock the Middle, Principal Chris Starcheski. Chris, welcome to Thursday night. Thursday, Sunday, Sunday, Thursday. It doesn't end. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. You know, the early snow day call was fantastic. It picked up the mood just a little bit.
Hold on a second, Chris. Snow day. I'm hearing a snow day in Texas. I don't understand how that happens. Okay, 2 days in a row. There must be maybe a little black ice. That's all I'm thinking. There's no snow in Texas.
About this much.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I was saying to Josh, you have a fleet of trucks out there. A couple of $1 million in trucks. Okay, and they don't even use them. So. Once or twice. Nope. Never mind. I'm sorry, Chris. I apologize.
Hey, no problem. You know, it's my daughter's 14th birthday tomorrow, my middle daughter, and she got a snow day for her birthday. So it doesn't get much better than that. So spent some time earlier this evening with the family, taking care of some business, taking care of some other things related to work. And here on Thursday Night Red Zone, this is all about connecting with leaders across the country to talk about issues that we are all facing and to understand maybe, just maybe, that there are some solutions out there. So that's a really important element for us. Hey, I'm going to kick it down to the downtown row down here. Let's have Michael go ahead and introduce himself to everybody, and then we'll kick it over to Otis, and then we'll get down and dirty tonight.
Michael Bobo. I'm assistant principal at Barrington Middle School in Tampa, Florida. I'm just still in mourning a little bit. I mean, Tom Brady loved me and held me, and now he's leaving me. I can't deal with it. 2 years is too much. But doing great. We ain't got no snow. We just dealing with a little cold weather. And this is my boy Otis on this side, that side.
You got it.
That's my boy Otis Kitchens from Town and Country. What's up, baby?
What's going on? I appreciate this opportunity. Otis Kitchen, Town and Country Elementary School, and like Michael mentioned, extremely cold to me because I'm a tropical guy. Got in the 40s and I had my 5-6 layers on and I was ready to go. But today it was in the 80s. So blessings with the weather, man.
So, it's great to have both of you with us. And, you know, I was saying earlier in our pregame, I was outside this morning at bus duty without a winter coat in New England. So that doesn't happen in early February. So I guess the groundhog must have seen a shadow, and all of a sudden, man, it started getting warm around here. So sorry you guys are dealing with the cold weather, especially in Texas. Hey, what's going on in your schools, guys? I mean, this is about the roundtable. This is all about inside your school now. We all face the same issues. I mean, let's just throw it out there right now. Let's talk about staffing. You know, what's happening? How is it? What's going on in your buildings? What are you doing to make people comfortable? Let's talk about it. We're at the halfway point. Otis, why don't we start with you?
Well, with me, I try to make sure my words and actions are aligned. So I'm there at 6:15 every morning, trying to greet people, making sure that people are just mentally ready to go. And I start with myself before anything. So I start with reading my devotional so I can focus on the blessings and gratitude. So when I step in there at 6:15, I'm saying happy Monday, happy Tuesday. So people are actually repeating that because our thoughts control our actions. So if they're thinking that, then that's going to trickle down to the children. So I just try to make sure that I'm visible, specific words of praise. They know I'm there. They know I'm about supporting them. And I just try to do what I can to support them in that capacity.
Sound like a perfect leader right there, man. Setting the stage and planting seeds every day. Good stuff. Michael.
I know I'm gonna sound like a repeat, but that's the same thing I do in the morning, Otis. Sit and get myself together, devotional wise, eat breakfast, make sure I take care of myself. Because if I don't take care of myself, I walk in the building and I can't take care of anybody else. And I know a lot of times we're used to once we get the door, we in our office or doing what we got to do. But I make it a point to go in my office, get some coffee, and then go walk around. Let me go see what's going on. Custodians, cafeteria, man, because today's world, things are going crazy. People are getting sick. We're missing this person. We're missing that person. Sometimes this conversation makes a big difference and making them feel like they are, we're a part of this thing together. So I make sure I do that, but also we continue to do incentives for our teachers. And if we didn't know, COVID's hitting everybody, teachers, parents, students. And when it's hitting teachers, teachers aren't coming to school. So then other teachers got to take the slack. We're taking the slack. So it's a lot. It's the weight is heavy. Yeah. But if we don't take the majority of that weight and just start making sure they know that we got the majority of it, you just carry yours, we're not going to make it. So I just make sure when I walk around, let them know that I'm supporting them in any way that I can.
Love it. Good stuff. Josh?
I'll build off of what Michael just said right now in regards to the lack of team members. Since the beginning of the school year, we've been short 4. And I was waiting for the December grads to see if someone came out of college in our local Dallas region. Nada, zero, zero. And so here it's guaranteed now that for the whole year I've had students in accountability with rotating substitutes. And so, in the campus that I'm at, are kids that just came in from another country. So how am I preparing them for a state test? The good thing is some of them are going to have exemptions, but how am I going to prepare them for effectively in the state test without having a certified team member in there? So that's been one of the things that we've had to deal with. I just recently hired a history teacher. I've been teaching history for the last 3 months. I love it. I missed it. I'm applying everything so it's been a great thing because people go in and observe me and know that's what the expectation is. But it's a point to where all of us have been substitutes. All of us have been covering classes to make sure that we give our team members that time, that peace of mind, saying that we're all in it together. It's not just a line. It's not just a thing to say. But once they see us putting in the action, make sure that they put in the work. You know what? Then we are a familia. Once they see the main chair and the subsequent chairs being out there, picking up trash, substituting classrooms, then you know what? It is a familia. Up until that point that Corona hit, it's not. But you know what? I really, that's one of the positive things for me that I've noticed because of this disease is that we're all in it together. It's affecting us all to where we're all being part of that solution. So that's just my 2 cents in regards to covering. And in regard to supporting our team members, you know what? One assistant principal a while told me this, and I've always believed that before she told me, is that we need them more than they need us. Our chair is a rotating chair. Our chair at most has a life of 3 to 5 years, correct? At the most, 3 to 5 years. Some of those team members have been there 14, 15. Some of those are weebies. We'd be here before you. We'd be here after you. And so it's one of the situations that we need to make sure that they feel that when we're there as a familia. We're there as a team. And so we need to make sure that we make them not only use the words, but make them feel it and see it with our actions in the positivity aspect of it.
Agreed, Josh. I love the weebies. I think we've got a great thing going right now with all the pressure that everybody's under. There's a weebie in this together mentality right now. But I think that weebie in it together mentality really does start with what you said, an acknowledgement and understanding that we need to give if we expect others to give. And in order to do that, much like Otis and Michael said, we've got to take care of ourselves here and in here in order to be able to give. We can talk about filling buckets all that we want, but if we can't fill from an empty vessel, we've got to take care of ourselves. When we encourage our staff to really take care of themselves, I'm being really honest and sincere about it. If somebody's saying, I'm really stressed or they're exhibiting stress, I'm telling them to take that day off. And I'm telling them to take that rest. I'm asking them to go out, enjoy a day on their own, take the mental health day, take the sick day. We will take care of your coverage. We'll find a substitute. we will keep the mission going. Because if they come back feeling a little bit rejuvenated, a little bit more jazzed, a little bit more excited, all the better for the kids, all the better for themselves, and all the better for their colleagues down the hall. Things have been tough, though. Like you mentioned, Josh, you're down 4 teachers. I'm down 2, and I've got one that's fortunate to be coming in after February break from another district. We found this diamond that was out there, and I feel bad for the other district, but you know what? I got to look out for my peeps, my kids, my town, my district, and ultimately they're coming because we've got a great system, great product, great people, and that's a tribute to the community. It's a tribute to the educators in the building every single day.
Right. And the one thing that I would just add, and I'm just listening to all you guys, and I love what you're doing. Leadership isn't about us at all, though. If you really stop and think about it, it's how we empower the people around us, how we challenge them to look at themselves differently each and every day. But more importantly, allow them to take the risks necessary to be successful, just like a teacher in a classroom would for kids. Our job as leaders, we're facilitators, we're coaches. And yes, do I believe that we have to be equalized and we have to have our own balance? Absolutely, I do. But don't ever forget, as a leader, all you new leaders out there, this is not about your badge that says your name on it. It's about everybody that is in your building that is associated with your learning community. And if you remember that as a leader, great things will happen down the road. You will set the seeds for growth. And continuous growth is the thing that we all look for. And it's not easy in this business. So you have to find ways to take small steps and just to move forward. Speaking of small steps, let's toss this out there for a second. What are you doing in your buildings to elicit student voice, to make sure your students are being heard? Post-COVID, okay, we get it. That's a tough time. Social emotionally, there's a lot of unbalance. There's a lot of things happening. But we still have an obligation to ensure that we're engaging students from our chair. And making sure that they have a voice in the overall growth. So what's happening? How are you doing that in your buildings? And let's go down to Michael first.
For us in middle school, we have a student council, and they elect someone from each homeroom to kind of be the voice. And then they meet once a week and after school and talk about what's going on. And it's very interesting, the topics that come up that we sometimes kind of shy away from, but they really talk about. Like even racial issues. They talk about being equal across the board, or even equity that we don't want to talk about. They start talking about, and they come up with solutions. So when that happens, after they speak, they present it to administration, and then we do something about it, like because it's their voice. That has been very, very effective. But one thing that we always talk about that I love is going to do lunch duty, because during that time, you get a lot of input also of students and what's going on, how's it going. And if you pay attention and if you listen, you can have your ear to the ground and the heartbeat of the school. But if you just kind of brush it off, oh, they're just kids or whatever, you're losing it. And when I say losing, you're losing the kid's voice, and they know it. So we just have, those are 2 that I know that are very key for us in our building.
Stuff, Otis?
I know with us, we try to build our students' confidence up. And what I like to do is I like to use the morning show. So I like to have the students to have the opportunity to do research on people that have impacted them historically and connect that history and bring that out on the morning show. And they can present presentations about how that person impacted them historically, which I found helps them to connect and know that they can achieve greatness too, in spite of some of the historical barriers that people have faced in the past. And we've seen results to the point where our superintendent came in and spoke to a group of 4th and 5th graders at our school. And I told my faculty and staff that I wanted them to just not coach, not prep, just let the students have their authentic voice. Whatever their superintendent asked him or her, let them speak their voice. And ultimately, they felt confident enough to be able to do that. And they told our superintendent that they felt very safe, very comfortable, and to the point where they feel like they can come to us about anything. And I really feel like the morning show empowered them to be able to do that.
Well, kudos to your superintendent as well for taking the chance to get out of the ivory tower and go down and meet with the kids. That's huge. And that doesn't happen often.
No.
Yeah,
Josh.
Yep.
Go ahead, Otis. Were you going to say something?
Oh yeah, I was going to say we have 200 20-something schools here, and he picked 5 schools out of the entire district. And our school was blessed enough to be one of the 5. And as a result, I was very proud of our students to be able to express themselves.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
Win-win.
The good thing about the campus that I'm at is that it's very small. It's very unique. And it allows me with the morning greetings and the lunchtime to make sure that you really have a pulse. Low numbers are really a great thing for a leader to make sure he knows what's happening within the bloodstream of the body. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of those things that it's mainly for me when the targeted goal is to make sure that I provide them safe and comfort, because these are the kids that just came in from Vietnam, from Afghanistan. And so I need to make sure that I provide them the opportunity to feel at ease. We had a family of 6 Afghani kids come in, and they had a lady, I guess a sponsor, bring him into the campus. And it really stood out because she was a white woman with these Afghani kids, and I didn't understand the dynamics. It was a brand new thing for me. It's a brand new experience as an administrator. So she brought them in to the campus, and she's explaining everything to me, but they're lost. You should have seen their face. Just put yourself in their shoes. Principal Cafella says that a lot. Would we live 1 week in their shoes? How would we feel in their environment? And so they came into MPA, and they were just, for lack of a better term, my word right now that came to my mind was terrorized. Just the feeling of coming into an American school. And for the first week, it was all a big turtle, just a walking turtle, 6 of them, just walking turtles, right? And so I needed to make sure, and it's part of the whole thing of every morning I start off by saying good morning in every language that I have. I have 6 languages, and I started learning their language. Just up until lunchtime, even this past Wednesday before the big blizzard in Texas today, they're smiling, they're laughing, they're joking. Our kids from Central America are starting to talk to them. And so you see, that's a great, beautiful thing that there is something positive going on. And that's a great tribute to our team members. Our team members have created that cohesive unit to not only provide instruction, but a loving environment. And then I, as a person that sits in the main chair, I'm the one that's checking the pulse, making sure that what's happening in the classroom is being seen as a collective. So when you're at the lunchroom, we all know this. When we're at the lunchroom, we know the reality of our school. Jimmy Casa says that the corona, all it does was reveal the reality of your leadership. So if it was a mess before, it's truly a mess out in the open right now. It was good before, it's good right now. I believe what Jimmy Casa said about that. And right now, I feel very comfortable when I've got all these nationalities. I could have chaos because of the different Honduras, Ecuador, El Salvador, because, there's some things dynamics that go with that. When in the lunchroom or when in the PE room, it's all going together. So for me, as someone that sits in my chair, I feel that the teachers are doing a great job making sure that they've created that culture and not just having the interaction with them. It's a great thing going on at the campus. But it all starts as long as we're all doing it together. And if we're blind to that sitting in our chairs, shame on us. It's our fault. If we're seeing that there's a lot of fights, shame on us. It's our fault, because the culture and the climate starts and ends with the number 1 chair.
100%. I think that as I sit here and think, the formal student voice, the principal's advisory council, the group of leaders from grades 5, 6, 7, and 8 who regularly meet, or informally meet even in some cases. Them, they know you. They know they can approach you, and they model that communication for their peers. It's really helpful. It's a great experience. Formal structure is a little bit tough for the 5th graders, but by 8th grade, they're understanding how they can sit down and gain in their visibility and connectivity, being in the classrooms, knowing, like Josh just mentioned, the pulse, but also letting the kids know that you are invested in them, you value them for who they are. I'm fortunate enough to be here in my hometown, where I'm an athletics coach. I attend church in town. My kids are growing up in the system. 2 of my 3 are in my building right now. So I have a lot of those connections, but I also have a lot of kids in the building that I don't have connections to, but it's very important to recognize them. So just because I'm a basketball coach going on now, I've got my 15 kids who are on the team, right? But I'm not just focusing on baseball or basketball talent when I'm talking to the kids in the building. I'm talking about the kiddos who love their Legos, who love Marvel movies, kids who just love to game, kids who are introverts and they just love to sit down with a great book in the corner. And acknowledging and embracing kiddos for who they are and what they bring, what their strengths are. And that's really one way that I try to amplify that student voice, is make them feel comfortable in who they are and what they bring to the table, making sure that they know that they all belong and they all have a place in everybody's heart in our school. And then the third is perhaps my favorite experience ever: Shadow a Student Day. Didn't get to do it last year. Was closed out of doing it when we shut down with our pandemic introduction, but it's coming back to me next month, and I'll be shadowing a student. I don't know which grade, don't know which student, don't know which teachers, but when I sit down in that student chair for an entire day, riding the bus, coming off the bus, going to homeroom, eating lunch, transitioning class to class, I really get an understanding for what they're going through. And I bring that back in and I have those conversations, not with the teachers of the classes who I was within, but with the faculty, what the experience was like. Guys, I was bored out of my skull for 45 minutes today when that activity was going on. I was so jazzed when it was really cool to hear this conversation out in the hallway. It was amazing to see these kids when they were talking and not realizing that I was there, and how they were handling that conflict amongst themselves, seeing and showcasing from the student lens. And that is perhaps one of my favorite ways to really acknowledge and understand student voice, Dean.
I mean, that's all. You guys have got some great things. And the only thing I can really add to the table is the life outside of the core classrooms. Okay, because you know what? When you leave the classroom, there's a different life for kids. There's that social hierarchy. There's that jockeying for position to be liked. And the one thing I say, and I'll share this. I mean, we had a situation happen in our school. We were doing an investigation, and it took 2 days to do the investigation. And one of the things that we dealt with was, a particular student who sometimes gets himself into trouble, but we measured his growth by some of the good things he showed during the investigation. And again, we always worry about honors, high honors, and doing all those things. Guess what? Kids grow from different lenses. And if you can recognize growth in different ways from a leadership or from a teacher standpoint, kids will notice and kids will engage with you. They will appreciate you making the extra steps to try to connect with who they are and where they're at, and recognizing that. I love the after school activities. I love the student groups that, we meet and they have voice with them as well. But this is their school. Don't ever forget that. Okay. And they come here, they're consuming something. We are selling them a product, and we have to remember that we have to do it together. There's no doubt about it, but we need their voice in order to move forward. They won't guide us, but they'll provide real good guidance for us as we look for different things.
Hey,
Speaking of, go ahead.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
I need to piggyback on what Chris said. And I think it's a great idea for all the leaders that sit either as an AP or in our chair. The kids that enroll in Garland ISD, they all go to one place. So it's a district of 55,000 kids, and everyone enrolls in one place or online. So the majority of the kids that go to Memorial Pathway go to a place and enroll as a student. And there they do they're the gatekeepers. Do they go to a comprehensive school, or do they go to us based on a test, whether or not they're well-established, well-versed in English? Okay. So then I was having a conversation with those people at central office, and I was saying, how do you determine sending the kids? How do you speak of our campus? Have you ever been in our school? Because if there's a parent that comes from Honduras, El Salvador, or Mexico, or Ethiopia, how do you promote our school to say that that's a good place? I need to know that, because, when they come here, they're lost still. So what do you say to us? And I said, you know what? How about you guys? All 6 of you come and shadow and do what Chris did. And when you do that as a leader, you're really opening up yourself. You're opening up your school to a bunch of strangers that have an opinion on how things should happen. And I don't care. I got nothing to hide. And I brought them in. And I had all of the people that are gatekeepers. And at the end, I didn't tell none of the team members they were going to be showing up. I didn't tell them, you come in and what you see. But I need you to be well educated before you refer a student, a future Jaguar, to our home. And after everyone went through it, I got thank you letters from them. They said, "Oh, now I see how you promote the program. Oh, now I know what you do." Ah, there you go. Again, the polls, the team members are doing their job, but most importantly, people are well versed of what happens to our campus or what is happening on our campus. So, hey, Montana, hey, South Dakota, hey, California, hey, if you sit in my chair, let a stranger come in to your school and, like Chris did, shadow one of your kids and get the feedback, because you know what? They have clean eyes and they'll know, they'll tell you what kind of job you're doing. So, Chris, I 100% agree with you. That's a great job that you did. And you know what? I'm validating that because we did that right before December break, and we got some good feedback from our central office people.
Thank you, my friend.
So let's dive into communication for a second, because one of the things that I've noticed, and as we make subtle changes coming out of COVID, the biggest thing that we can do is ensure that we communicate with parents what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it. And how do you guys in your buildings ensure that that communication happens on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? What does it look like? How do you ensure that you create that buy-in for your community members? You know, from my vantage point, we'll do weekly roundtables. We'll talk from a student support group. We'll go out and we'll use virtual platforms to connect with parents when they want to, once or twice a month. We'll open it up for questions and answers. We'll do coffee and conversation virtually. Anything we can do to bring parents into our schools so they can see the magic that's happening and allow them to have direct correspondence with us, because we want to tell our story. The excitement of an adjustment counselor talking about student support services to the community is huge. You have a teacher just booming with enthusiasm who comes in and articulates out, the magic that happens in a class. That's a win-win. So what do you guys do in your buildings that kind of move in that direction? Why don't we go with Josh? Why don't you go first?
In the morning, due to the size of the campus, I had those daily exchanges with parents where they interact with me in regards to daily needs, whatever it might be. And because of the language barrier, the majority of my customers are Hispanic, 90%. So I'm able to guide them through whatever it is that the American school system brings to their child. Does that make sense? It's easy for me to guide them on what the how is. The whole thing of dress code, the whole thing about cell phones, all those kind of things that obviously it is foreign to them when they come to the Texas schools. I don't know about what happens in Florida or Massachusetts, but it's my job to have that communication. But whenever it comes down to something like weather, when it comes down to anything that is a big picture that's already to be scheduled, that's part of those 6 minutes are mine. I'm telling you, those 6 minutes in the morning that I do the morning announcements, they're mine. They need to hear me and what the message will be. Every morning I do 6 minutes. I'm 100% believer in that. And during those 6 minutes of time, sometimes it goes a little bit over, I provide them with whatever it might be that's a coming up early release day, whatever this might be. But not only that, but that's also posted on all the social media sites that we have. And parents, because they are working two jobs, like I reiterate the point, the parents that work for our campus have 2 or 3 jobs. They're immigrants themselves here doing 2-3 different jobs. They message me on Facebook. They message me on Instagram. And I have no issue with that, because you know what? I'd rather deal with a message on Facebook at 8 o'clock in my house than to put up with a worried parent in the morning when I'm trying to start off the day. If I'm a parent, I don't want to go in with troubles at 6 a.m. for my child, if I could address the issue earlier. And that's really allowed me to make sure that I stop any kind of noise or nonsense that's out there. So social media, morning announcements, but every day, just like all of you do it, Otis, Michael, everybody, Dean, we greet them in the morning. And you know what? Those parents will say, hey, can I get your 2 minutes? 2 minutes are really like 7 minutes, but it's okay. As long as I'd rather take 7 minutes outside in the hot and the cold than deal with 2-hour problem later on.
Who wants to go next? Toss that out there. Otis.
Well, I want to highlight a couple of things. One thing that I do is I have parent, teacher, student admin conferences pretty much every morning, where we sit down with the child, the parents there, the teachers there, and we set goals. And I do a principle of Kafele calls trying to close the attitude gap, where the student actually believes in him or herself, the educator believes in that student as well, and the parent is on board. And then after we have that meeting, we set a follow-up meeting for that accountability piece. So 3 weeks later, We're meeting back with that family, back with that child. We're celebrating success, because it's what I tell them. This is the celebrate success, and that's what we do, and that's what it's always been. It's always been a celebration of success. The second thing I want to highlight is I'm a big proponent of all pro dads. I lead the chapter meetings once per month, 6:30 in the morning. Dads come in. We start out with the pride moment where he speaks about his or her child, some wonderful qualities. The child in return does the same thing. I kind of go through how to look at reports, how to strategize. We talk about character building. So the parent or the guardian has the confidence to be able to go and talk to the educator and know exactly what questions to ask. So then that's just another empowering moment for that family to be able to accomplish the goals of helping that child be successful.
Great stuff.
Awesome.
Michael.
You know how you sit and you think about what you're doing, and all this stuff starts coming up because you do it on such a daily basis. It's a part of your routine. You're like, oh man, yeah, we do that. So I was sitting and thinking, so first of all, every week we do send out a parent link telling parents, look, this is what's happening in the upcoming week. Also do the COVID calls, but during those COVID calls, we always add extra stuff in there that's happening at the school. And good, bad, or indifferent, we're transparent. This has been going on. We need your help with the children, things of that nature. Morning show, we always get on the morning show. If any administrator will get on the morning show and encourage the students, but also be transparent. Hey, this is going on, y'all. We need to stop. Like when that TikTok challenge thing was going on, we told them straight up, hey, we're not tolerating it. This is what we're doing. But also when they're doing a lot of good things, we make sure that they know. But in the morning, like Josh said, is the best time to talk to parents, students, and to really get to them and say, hey, what's going on? How's the day? You can tell how the day is going just by walking around with our kids. We got 1,400 kids, and they all sit out in the courtyard in the morning. So you can walk around each room and see who's having a great day, who's not having a great day, what's going on. And when you see that, you know what to do. And also we make sure that we use social media. And Josh, we're doing more because you keep pushing us. So we start to use more social media, not only with Facebook with our parents, but with Twitter and our website and things of that nature. But the biggest thing for our school, our electives are huge, like our chorus, our band, our orchestra. They're all real, like big, like 500 kids a piece that are going through those classes, right? So with that, man, when those concerts come, those practices come, man, snatching those parents all the time, talking to them. And, you know, those are the types of parents that will talk to you. They'll tell you what's on their mind, what they're concerned about with their child. And it's not just about playing a horn or playing the strings. It's about academics, and they're serious about their academics. So all those avenues are always there. And again, we do this almost daily. And I'm sitting there saying, oh man, we do a lot every day. But sometimes even as administrators, as we're going through our day, we don't realize all that we do. We just kind of pinpoint certain things. But I know even sitting here talking to y'all, the things that we're doing is affecting our students where we are. And that's what this is about. It's about student achievement. It's about our kids getting to the next level, and we being the ones that they stand on our shoulder to make sure they get where they need to be.
Great stuff, Chris.
Absolutely. You know, the only thing I'll add, I mean, we do the weekly communications. We've got the social media. We've got the up-to-date website. We've got the teachers, team leaders communicating out, all those pieces. But I think one of the most, and it goes back to what I said earlier about students, and we all said was visibility and connectivity, right? Whether we're out there at bus duty, we're in the traffic line, or, you know, we've got actually our administrative secretaries in the main office. Our building answers the phone live. We have a voicemail system where folks can go, but it's very rare that somebody doesn't get a person when they call our school. And the rule for both me and my assistant principal is we're not putting a parent into voicemail. You find us, we're going to go ahead and talk to them. I mean, unless there's some type of extreme situation going on, we're going to take their call. We're going to take their meeting when they walk through that front door, because there is nothing worse than needing to sit and wait, because their priority at that point in time is the well-being of their child. And I understand that. And at times, you know, I have to become a great counselor of adults in some cases. And that goes a heck of a long way when it comes down to responsiveness and validating the fact that we are entrusted with a great responsibility, care, custody, and control of the children of the parents that are sending them to us. So to let the parents know that we know their kids, that we understand them, and that we're going to work through difficult times. We might not agree at the end of that discussion, but we will agree that we are doing this in the best interest of the child. And at the end of the day, that's about the best stretch of communication that we can provide.
And that starts with just good listening skills, Chris. And I'm sure that any good leader, you got to put aside everything. You got to be really good at de-escalating and looking at individuals. And every parent wants to be heard, just like every student wants to be heard. So please, leaders out there, just make sure you're listening and do not formulate any opinions until you've heard all the facts, because not one size fits all. And that's like for discipline. That's like for everything. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look at the situation in front of you before you make any rash decisions on outcomes. So real important. Otis and Michael, what's on your mind? Well, toss something out there, man. Because I don't want to be the one coming out with these topics. You guys are guests on our show tonight. So what's on your mind?
Well, just thinking outside the box as far as just supporting our faculty and staff with their emotional and health and well-being. So any type of suggestions, thoughts. I know with us, we actually do Zumba every Thursday on the computer. One of our pre-K teachers is a Zumba instructor, and
I can see Chris doing that.
Yeah. As a and I'm not rocking yoga pants. I just want to just put that out there. But we do that just so we could just continue to just be connected, but also keeping things physical. And also we have Humana Go 365, and we do challenges to where we actually count our steps and compete against other schools. And we do 2 weeks, and then we count top 10. You give us your top 10, we take our top 10, and then we total up the steps of the 10, and then we have bragging rights. So if anybody have any other suggestions on just things that you're doing just to keep the faculty and staff as far as mental health, cardio, whatever we can come up with, that'd be awesome.
Those are great ideas, Otis. I mean, I might take that from you. I'm going to steal that one and challenge another school to do that. Because if you all don't know, I've tagged some of you. We started off at the school year with some of the other administrators across the country with a 10,000 step club. Daily, we try to do 10,000 steps. For sure, today, I ain't getting 10,000. I've been.
Oh, you didn't get 10,000? Are you sure? You check me every single day, man.
I didn't get 10,000. I only got 2,000. But you know what, Otis? I've been thinking about it. I'm glad you brought it to the front of my brain, and that's why we're here, because I think that that's very crucial that we use the kinesthetic way of relieving stress.
Yes.
And if we don't provide them the opportunity, they're still gonna go home to their families, and that's family time. That's time for your familia to love and embrace during these hard times. So Otis, thank you for providing that for me as someone that sits in my chair. I mean, I think I need to bring that to light in our campus. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Do you all have Humana Go 365? By the way, no. Okay, because we were gonna crush you all. Just checking.
Oh, the challenge.
Well, as of tomorrow, we might have it now.
That's right. You're gonna toss that grenade out there. We might have to take you up on it.
A little bit competitive.
Just a little. Michael, any pressing thoughts from you?
So, as I thought, I went to Citrus County this week and had training and everything. And educators everywhere are struggling with the pandemic and with education being lost. And when I say education being lost, people aren't running to education like they used to. Josh just mentioned, like in December, we used to be able to grab some young newbies and say, hey, come on to education. They're not going there. And we're losing our profession, not outside of the politics. I ain't going to go into politics. I think my main concern is not only are we not getting people into our buildings to teach and educate our students, but we're not getting leaders either. The teachers are like, man, I ain't going to administration. Like we used to, when I was younger, when I first started going to leadership, we all were running to the office. We were like, no, I'm doing the tardies. No, you doing the tardies, all that. Now, nobody's even trying to go into the office. And that concerns me, because if we're not raising leaders, if we're not raising future educators, what's going to happen? because we can't do it forever. We're going to be out the door, and I'm concerned about it, and it's something I can control to a certain degree, but it's something I really can't control, and I try to stay away from things I cannot control. But that concerns me when my career, the thing that I know everybody no matter what profession you go into, you got to go to school. You got to be educated in the United States, K through 12. If you don't have anybody to educate you, what's going to happen? So it's not even a charter versus public, because nobody's going into our profession. They're being influencers and all this other kind of stuff, making quick money. So that's been on my mind. And I'm involved in some different things that we're trying to get others to be involved in education. But that's really been pressing just on me, and that's because it's our career. That's what our passion is.
Well, part of Unlock the Middle is about giving back. Chris and I talked about the legacy. I've been going at this now for 28 years, going to my 29th year, and I'm still the greenhorn, according to some, and Josh would attest to that. But at the end of the day, especially those 40-year plus guys, which I have huge admiration for, but we have to be thinking about tomorrow and who's going to take the torch, and we got to be planting seeds and watering and cultivating that. If we don't do that, then shame on us, because we won't be there forever. There's no doubt about that. Hey, we're going to move right into the red zone right now. 30 seconds. Okay. Our leadership table right now, for those new leaders out there listening to us, I want you to think for a second. What advice would you give to a new leader? And I'm going to start off with Michael. And Michael, what would you tell a new leader out there about how to maintain the focus and look at the trajectory of helping others? What would you say? You got 30 seconds. We're going to go right around the room.
First, I tell them, enjoy the journey, period. Enjoy the kids, because that's what we're there for. We're there for the students. Enjoy it. So while you're enjoying it, continue to learn across the board. Learn what you can learn. Grasp it in. Be a sponge. Learn it and use it. A lot of times we learn a lot of things. We go to trainings, but we'll never implement it because it's not the right time. Use what you learn. Enjoy the journey, and keep that passion and keep that fire.
Otis.
I would tell that person, don't take anything personally. You need to separate the actions from the person, because the minute that we allow ourselves to take anything personal, then that starts to affect our decision making and our health, because you get headaches, you get backaches, you get chest pains. And if you can separate the two, if anything, please separate actions from the person.
Josh.
Be aware of your politics. Be aware of your politics. I've had too many assistant principals say, I didn't know this job was so political. It is. It doesn't matter where. Look at the reactions in Florida. Hey, Montana, you looking at Florida? Look at the reaction in Massachusetts. It's political. It's all political. Be aware of your politics. You don't know where your politics are sometimes because you're a newbie. So as long as you understand that you're in it for kids, but remember that the higher you go in our chairs, the more politics it is. So you need to be politically savvy and not black and white, because when we deal with kids and other human beings, it is a gray area. So even though policies and procedures state something, understand that it's a human factor. And the human factor will always make sure that you catch where the wind is blowing. Because sometimes you think it's going this way, and you're going to get hit by a tsunami going the other way. So be aware of your politics. And yes, can it get you dirty? Yes. I'm a testament to that in many situations. So know your politics.
Chris.
Hey, all fantastic advice, and there's innumerable opportunities for advice for young leaders. I think one of the best falls back to Stephen Covey in habit number 5: seek first to understand, then to be understood. And as you come into a new situation, a new environment, or even an environment that you're coming into from a new lens, a classroom teacher or counselor moving up to admin, you've got to look at things from a different perspective and understand how all the nuances play off of one another before you sit down and ask others to think differently and make different opportunities. You've really got to understand that perspective from the balcony view, and then you can go ahead and make your shifts and shakes if you need to.
And I'm going to add in, know your audience, tap the brakes, smile, and cultivate as many relationships as you can. You do those things, you're going to be fine. There's no doubt about that. Hey, great session tonight, guys. Great to talk to you guys. Great to hook up with Florida, Texas. Chris, always great to be here with you. Sunday night, we've got another masterful performance coming on. We're going to be talking about mastery-based learning. We're going to have a great opportunity to meet somebody who Chris and I had some professional development with over this last week. Lori McEwen, Dr. Lori McEwen from Rhode Island, and she's going to come in, and she was awesome during the presentation that we had. But more importantly, she's going to come in and break down mastery-based learning, what it's all about, and why we have to be focusing on those types of initiatives. Other than that, guys, it was great to have you here tonight. Listen, keep up the fight, keep doing what you do, because that's what makes us better, and that's what makes us special leaders, make our schools better. So again, appreciate all you guys. Happy Friday. If you have a snow day tomorrow, enjoy it, because I know we do. Tampa doesn't get any snow. Sorry. You guys might have a beach day one of these days. But other than that, guys, great to see all of you guys. Keep looking to get better. Hold on.
Good, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Definitely Sunday night, Dr. Lori McEwen on Unlock the Middle. Be well, everybody.
Thank you. Be blessed.